Coming to you live from the guest bedroom of my parents' house, it's the Untitled Awesome Podcast with me, JHirte. Yeah, that's right, this guy. How's everyone doing? It's been a while. I'm back, baby. Back from what? Just okay. Wow, the very first podcast numero uno. Pilot podcast. Well, I guess this isn't technically a pilot, but I don't know, I'm from an aviation family, so just seems right. Today we're going to be talking about this podcast. This is not a typical podcast of what I'll be doing. I'm hoping to make this a weekly thing. And but for now, just going to tell you why I'm doing this, what it's going to be about. Tell you a little bit about myself, what I'm doing now, because I know you're all really interested in hearing all that, and where I'm coming from, and then we'll see where it goes from there. So yeah, sit back and enjoy the ride, folks. Heads up, this podcast is rated PG-13. It's not PG because I'm, for lack of a better word, weird. I let my mind wander, my mouth jabbers away. I'm not sure what's going to come out all the time. Well, then, Joe, why don't you edit it? Because I'm lazy, and me fiddling around with computer software is like Colin Firth in the King's Speech. Everyone's just sort of like, you know what, Joe, we don't have time for this personal victory. We know you're trying to figure it out, but really just let it be what it is. And then the only way I make any progress if I go through this huge scene of cussing and swearing. But no, really a lot of topics that I'll be touching on are relatable to me, and people under the age of 13 just won't get it unless there is someone there to explain it to them. An adult, okay, maybe adult isn't the right word, just someone close to our age. Maybe it should be PG-17. But then we're basically rated R. Although it could be M for mature, but for me and mature and together is just an oxymoron. And this will not be rated R because I believe censorship can be sexy. Yeah, that sounds nice. No, I listened to a lot of comedy today, going to comedy school, and it's a little disturbing the more I observe, just sort of like the direction everything is in. Everything's all about the shock laugh. A lot of jokes being told just have to be sexual or just really naughty language, and I don't really want to go to that level. I'm trying to stay clear of that, trying to create my own path, and it's not really me. So this is the new look JHirte in my clean-cut comedy. But I believe man is naturally sinful, and so I'm going to slip up every once in a while. Just hope you bear with me on that one, guys. Another heads up, I am, for lack of a better word, weird. I will quote random, obscure lines from movies, as well as just breaking a random song or sing a little tune every now and then. I really can't control it. It's a disease. There's something wrong with me, guys. And you just really need to know that. I would assume many of you listening to this who know me would already know that about me. It's kind of what defines me. So don't be alarmed. I'm obviously not going to clarify or just assume. I'm just going to assume everyone knows what I'm talking about. If you don't, I'm moving on without you. Okay? Just I won't go back. I'm moving forward. And also gotta tell you, I am loud. I gotta tell you the story that kind of sums it up. This past summer, my very good friend Steve Olson got married to the wonderful Emily, whose last name is now also Olson. And the wedding was in Kansas, Winchester, Kansas, and that was just a trip and a half. Whew. 9-hour car ride with 3 old Dutch people. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And then the wedding itself was just, man, it was my kind of forum. You know, the rehearsal dinner was at this outside kind of campground. And for some reason, everyone was like really quiet. I'm like, come on, this is a wedding. So at one point, we're all making speeches, and I just sort of went up there and I said, "What's up, Kansas? How's everyone doing, you party animals?" And literally only the people who came from Delavan laughed along and went with it, trying to get that hooting and hollering going on. Apparently I had the really wrong impression of Kansas people. I thought they were going to be rifles going off and shots going in the air. Oh, yeah, let's all get it. So after that, we had kind of guys' night to celebrate Steve's last night of freedom before the old ball and chain got attached. And one of Steve's college buddies, I forget who it was exactly, at one point in the night just kind of turned to me and said, "Joe, you're a loud person, aren't you?" And believe it or not, that was the first time I ever heard that. But when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I usually have it all bottled up because, you know, have to use the indoor voice or it's inappropriate. But, I mean, give me the freedom and I'm just going to let it all out. So, I will, just to heighten it, to bring the emotion, I will raise the sound volume a little bit. Go ahead, adjust your monitors on your computers or whatever you have to do, all that technical jargon. And that also led to me, well, actually, I must say, Bill Burr shouts to the background every once in a while on his podcast, and I find that hilarious. Maybe some people don't. I do, just because I guess I relate to being a loud person. So when I name drop on this podcast, I'm going to do what's called a shout out, because it's a shout out to, you know, homeboy Jaquan over there or whatever, but I'm going to literally shout it out. Clever, I know, right? Should be a wordsmith. So now that that's covered, I also need to tell you that I am very nerdy. So nerdy. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, really big one. Just, I'm all about it. So I will make a lot of references to those, and that's probably going to be a major topic in the coming weeks, especially since J.K. Rowling is making a screenplay for another movie series. It was supposed to be just a movie based on the book Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, Fantastic Beasts. No, that's the Eminem story. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Warner Brothers wanted to make that lone book into a movie. And she said, you know, I have a better idea. This author that I made up for it, I'm going to instead make an entire new movie series based on his life. It's neither a prequel or a sequel to the Harry Potter story. This is going to be set 70 years before then in New York. But it's all in the same wizarding world and everything, and I am so excited, as you can tell. I'm just shaking, trembling with excitement. So I believe that's an example. But you know what? That doesn't even describe how nerdy I am. I'm going to give you another one. Yeah, you're in for a long one, folks. When I first moved back here, I wasn't here for very long when one fine day, Mom needed me to move some stuff up into my old bedroom because she was cleaning out. She's turning into a study or something. And my old bedroom is at the very top of the house, and it's how I relate to Harry Potter because it's basically a glorified closet. The ceiling slants down right there. People would just walk in and be like, "How do you move?" It's like, well, I was, believe it or not, small as a child. I was not always this size. So yes, at one point I was able to maneuver around in there. It's been a while since I've been up there, so I forgot how small it was exactly. So it was a long day, I remember. I was already like kind of frustrated, and I wasn't looking up when I walked into the room, and I walked directly into the light that's hanging down from the ceiling, and I just conked my head, and I said a 4-letter word that one shouldn't say in front of their mother. It was an ouch. I'll tell you that much. And Mom gave me one of those surprise shock looks. Not that she was taken aback, but she was like obviously surprised I said it, but also visibly pissed. And my very first response was not, "I'm sorry." I didn't try to make an excuse. I literally was so upset about this that I looked at her and said, "Well, when do we move to the Shire?" That's a Hobbit reference, because that's where hobbits live, and hobbits are short. Yeah. So hopefully that confirms what my mind can be like sometimes. Moving on. Why am I doing this? Joe, first of all, why a podcast? And, wow, the reasons are limitless. I don't have to wear pants. I don't know if you need any more than that, but I'll keep going, I guess. People have always told me that I have a face for radio, and I always taken that as a huge compliment, and I feel like now it's time that I, take that said people's advice and use my face for its talent behind a microphone and away from the camera. Why are you doing this, Joe? Because I want to be a star, baby! I seriously need a hobby. So I guess this is a good time filler for that. I really do want to get my name out there. I'm, I guess, in the business of being an entertainer. Love doing stand-up. I have a couple of stand-up gigs coming up. I had my first audition this past weekend for a student film. And whether it's acting, improv, doing stand-up, I really just want to perform and entertain. And hopefully you guys find enjoyment from this podcast, and that makes this a form of entertainment. I will be using a lot of my stand-up material on here, and this is a lot where you guys come in. I would love some feedback. I'm going to be sharing stories, just regular jokes that I have, my observations with my twisted sense of humor with them, and let me know what works, what doesn't, what do you find funny, and what do you find absolutely atrocious and I should never use on stage. I'd appreciate it. Also, I find this to be a good way to stay in touch. I am not exactly the greatest when it comes to updating people about the going-ons in my life, for those who care. But now I can basically tell you not only what I'm up to, but my thoughts and opinions on a day-to-day basis, at least once a week. So whenever you're like, hey, wonder what Joe's up to. No, but I don't feel like talking to him. You can just go ahead and listen to this. So that'll keep you on top of things. So that way, it's all on you if we get together and we don't know what's going on. Because you haven't told me anything about what's going on with you, and you've had every opportunity to know what's going on with me. Yeah, so balls in your court. Check. For example, if you are in a relationship with someone the last time I've seen you, and then you break up with them, but I did not know that you had broken up with said someone, and I decide to coordinate a fun, friend-filled event, and I invite X someone to that event as well, making it extremely awkward for him and making me come across as a total jerk. You know who you are. We can now avoid those situations. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm doing this. For you guys. Now, what is this podcast going to be about? When I would tell people the past couple weeks that I was starting a podcast, or at least thinking about it, they would say, what's it going to be about? And I would say, well, And about 90% of the time, they would immediately say, "You have no idea, do you?" And I guess that's kind of fair to say. I really don't know how to categorize this. I guess I could call this the narcissistic podcast and just say it's going to be all about me, which has some truth to it, because, I don't know, I like talking about me. No, really, this is going to stay focused on comedy for the most part, but my comedy also, I get it from my interests. I'm going to be talking a lot about just stories of the observations that I see in everyday life, just because I find it interesting to, look up every once in a while and see what's going on around me. It's amazing, the kind of stuff you can see and take in. Gonna be talking about what any 22-year-old guy wants to talk about. I mean, sports, beer, movies, and girls. I mean, what else is there, right? Get to talk a lot of Packers football, most likely. Don't really care to now because it's been a rough start to the season, but don't worry, we'll get there. We already established the nerdy neediness that I have. Gotta get my nerd fix on. And I will be offering like my opinions and theories about certain things, but know that because this is a comedy-based podcast, it should not be taken too seriously. Plus, I'm a 22-year-old broke white kid living in the middle class with his parents. No one should even care what I have to say when it comes to opinions. Like, the government shut down today. I thought, oh, so anarchy is basically where we're at right now, right? And then I can go on about this whole thing about the government, but really no one should care what I have to say about it. Was there anything I'm going to say gonna change? Change! Obama! But again, the main purpose of this is tell me what parts of it you, the listener, enjoy. And I just really want to hear from you guys. What entertained you? What made you LOL? Or ROFL? Whatever you kids say these days. Makes you want to hashtag something. I don't know. So feel free to email me, message me on Facebook, comment on the blog. I'd say that'd be the main way of communication. Please just comment. And also, I will take suggestions, topic ideas. If you really care to know how I feel about certain issues, go ahead and bring those up. It can really be about anything. If you want advice, I did take some psychology courses in college, so I'm obviously kind of qualified to give out helpful life lessons, if you will. So don't be afraid to ask. Help me help you. I think that basically sums up what my aim in doing this is. I think I'll just give you a quick update as to what I'm doing now, and then I'll probably just have you tune in next week to see what's happening. Right now, I am living with the great Mama and Papa Hirte in I already used that one earlier. Delavan, Wisconsin, aka Little Mexico, also known as home to the Dutch Mafia. Yeah, repping that. Thank goodness I got that 50% in me, On a regular weekday basis, I work for my uncle's recycling business. Gonna hear a lot about that because every day's an adventure there. Then usually I then head straight from work to my old high school. Faith Christian represent! And I am assistant coaching the soccer team there. Don't worry about asking if it's JV or varsity because it's all one team. Yeah. Gotta love small private schools. It's so cute. And also plenty of good stories from there. And I get to work with my high school soccer coach, who's still there, and that's just awesome. And it's a great group of guys. It's a little weird because I don't feel that much older than some of them, mainly because a handful of the kids on the team, their siblings were my friends in high school. And I also just kind of, grew up invading their house, and they'd be, they would just see me at random times. Kyle Brossard would literally walk into his house sometimes, and I would be the only one there, even though I lived 20 minutes away. But, raiding the fridge, saying, "What are you doing here and not at work?" and chastising him for being at his own house. But at the same time, because it's all one team and freshmen through seniors play, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm 8 years older than some of these kids, and that's kind of weird. I have become that guy that just hangs out at his old high school. Oh, living the dream. #heaven. After that, I usually go lift. Getting huge. No big deal. Wednesdays, I'm helping out with the youth group at my church. Yes, they entrust me with the youth of our church. Gonna be doing great things. Just great, you guys. And that usually makes it a full day for me. And then weekends, I take the 2-hour train ride down to Chicago, where on Saturdays I take acting classes and Sundays I take improv classes. I also taken some stand-up. I'm going to be doing some stand-up there as well in the next couple of weeks. Really looking forward to that. I've had material just piling up because I've had nowhere to spend it, basically, and I'm just ready to get back up there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hang out in Chicago. As much as I can't stand the sports teams, just because of the rivalry issue, it really is a fun town. It's like Chicago's America, and and Delavan's just some sort of third world country where it's like, oh, it's the land of opportunity. Anyone can make it. Just follow your dreams. And it's also much more expensive to live there than in other countries. It's a pretty bad analogy, but it's all I got on me right now, okay? It's getting late. Got a bedtime to think about. And yeah, I believe that's it for this one. You guys want to hear a story? I don't know why I'm asking this question. I'm not hearing feedback from you. Yet. Hint, hint. But I think this is good enough for now. So yeah. Tune in weekly. Should be up Tuesday nights. Since this is obviously an amateur operation, sometimes it may not be up till Wednesday morning. But we try our best here. So tell your friends, tell your family. The Untitled Awesome Podcast with JHirte, yours truly. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for laughing. I assume that you did. Maybe not out loud, but in your hearts. Even if they were just pity laughs. Just do me a solid. And I look forward to talking to you next week. Take it easy. Hirte out.